Merhaba, ufak bir aramızdan sonra yeniden beraberiz. Şimdi Criteo sunumumuza devam ediyoruz webinarımıza. Criteo Managing Director, Retail Media Managing Director, Sander Messi hazırsa ekrana davet etmek isterim. Hello Sander, you can turn your video on.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And we're so excited to hear what you're going to say about the evolution of retail media. The screen is yours.
Thank you very much. So, thanks again for having me. My name is Sander. I'm the Managing Director in Central Europe, including Turkey, for retail media at Criteo. I've been in the company for 8.5 years now. And I would like to share a bit of my personal story with working with brands and agencies and, of course, the retailers on retail media solutions over the last years. And show you why, of course, it's been such an exciting ride. Okay, so retail media has been flagged as the third wave in digital advertising. So here's a screen grab of the Financial Times. An article they published a couple of weeks ago. Sources is in the slides. So what it shows is that really like search was the first wave, right, of performance advertising, digital advertising. Then of course social came in, and though they're here to stay, they're super important. But the third wave is really like Amazon and the retail media platforms, as you see here. So that's the top one. And to put them a bit in perspective, if you see in the US, for instance, the retail media networks already represent $37 billion in 2022. And if you compare that to social media, of course, is still quite a lot bigger. But retail media is growing 5 times faster this year. So really catching up on the other two first waves. Also, if you compare it to more traditional channels like television, they're really closing in fast. So retail media is growing that fast and is catching up on ad sales on television in the US, and is already twice bigger than retail and print combined in the US. So this shows you really like the uplift retail media is taking. And when I say retail media, it's all the retailers, including Amazon combined here. That's quite interesting numbers. I would advise you to go to the Financial Times and read the full article because it has quite a few nice insights. Okay, now we have seen like how big it is, right? Let's touch base on a couple of elements within retail media. Most retailers, they start off with sponsored products, like you see on the top left here, on the bottom left here at Macy's. But there is way more. Sponsored products is just the starting point where there is way more to gain. And in this session today, I would like to run you through my journey and a journey that we've been through with many retailers. Okay, where did it start? As I said before, most of the time, sponsored products is the first thing. So sponsored products, here's an example of a client of ours, MediaMarkt. MediaMarkt Saturn will soon also be live in Turkey. We have a European-wide agreement to launch in 14 markets. And this is an example how it looks in Germany, for instance. So sponsored products are native product ads, position 1 and 2. And the cool thing about it is they look exactly the same as an organic listing. So this could be a search page or a category page where you see relevant products pushed by brands for it, and products that need to be relevant for your shoppers, of course. There's a CPC model behind it. So every click generates, let's say, €1 or $1 and a rev share behind it, making a very profitable business, an incremental business for the retailers. Brands are able to push their products forward and be very visible on these prominent positions. And it needs to be, of course, with the algorithms we provide, it needs to be relevant for the shopper. So we need to show a product that's available, that's according to his keywords or according to the filter he's using, needs to be a relevant television in the right size, in the right price, etc., etc. And it needs to be available, of course. That's all incorporated in sponsored products. It looks very easy, but there's quite a bit of technology in the back to make it work. So here's another example on Sephora, kind of like positioned in a different way, but still very native integrated in their search grid. Then the second step. Most retailers do that as a second step. Some do the other way around, but most retailers say, okay, I used to have a lot of traditional banners on my homepage and across my website, but I want a bit more, kind of like a bit more targeting. I want to share more insights with my brands and with my agencies because they're asking for it. And I want those elements that sponsored product has as well. So real-time price, product availability, star rating, all those elements that are driving performance in these advertisements that are making a successful display ad. So here are two examples that we run across Europe and on another partner of ours, Douglas. So this is where you see, for instance, that Chanel has the opportunity to be more branding as well. So this is more like a branding and awareness element combining with two products. The Chanel products on the right-hand side of the banner, that gives the performance effect. So that's what we at Criteo call commerce display. And as you can see, there are sliders in there, and they're nice looking banners, and they have a different model behind it. So they're sold on a CPM rather than on a CPC, an auction model that sponsored product is. So they're nicely integrated. They need to match with the look and feel of the website, but this enables brands and agencies to have more like a branding effect in it. If you look at the targeting options behind it, so in this on-site display, you have way more options. You can go for keyword, contextual, baskets, shopping history, or even target on, for instance, locations or on the data that a retailer or a platform could provide to us. So these are quite custom setups as well, and quite different in that sense to sponsored products. So these two combined are a very strong additional revenue driver for retailers and for platforms, and that basically builds the most inventory on site. But of course, there's more. That's why many of our clients would like to look offsite as well. So this is an example of a partnership that we have with Flaconi, a retailer in perfume, and Burberry. So Burberry wants to use the first-party data of the retailer, Flaconi. They say, okay, everyone that bought or looked at a fragrance category in the last 90 days, I would like to show them an ad to try to pull them back and buy my Burberry products. This is how it looks on a traditional publisher website, for instance. So very simple, very future-proof, because it's a unique targeting of a retailer's audience, and that's first party. So it is a very detailed and very unique way of targeting, kind of like a traditional way. Okay, here's some more insights, how we can do this for instance, Dove and Target. On the right-hand side, you see an example on the weather site. If you click on it, that click drives to a Dove product on the Target website. And the click is paid not by the retailer, but is more like a traditional retargeting ad, but now the click is paid by the brand, Dove in this case. So that's how it works. Brands are happy because they can drive more traffic to their product detail pages on Target, on the retailer. Retailers are getting more qualitative traffic to their site without paying for it. And it shows relevant products to the shopper. So that makes it kind of like a win-win-win situation. Okay, then what I found out over the last years that some traditional retailers that, for instance, let's take MediaMarkt as an example, that have a very successful in-store business, that have a very successful online business, but there was more. And there were more like marketplace sellers that want to be active as well. So not only the Samsungs and the Sonys of this world, but way more. And of course, Amazon is showing how successful that can be. So they're opening up more and more retailers that more like the traditional retailers. They're opening up a marketplace solution. There's a difference between how to work with sellers and how to work with brands. because one is really focused on an easy way to push their products and to advertise them. And the brands want way more control. So they want third-party data, and they want control, self-service platforms, way more insights and attribution options. But we see that this is really like a trend moving forward, that you don't only work with your big brands, but also the long tail or the marketplace sellers will become active within retail media as well. Okay, the future, I believe, will be connecting the dots to make it omni-channel. We see that a lot of retailers have many touch points. So it's an in-store sale, or it's a purchase online, but they went to the store. There's a loyalty card. Connecting all these dots and make it one big data pool to use, that will be the future. And also think about digital in-store screens. So when you enter a big store, like a supermarket, there will be a screen, and then you check your loyalty card or you scan your app. That needs to be all connected. Currently, it's not. There are a lot of ways to do that, but that's what we all need to figure out, I guess, in this space. So a lot more to come, I believe, in this environment. Maybe to flip it a bit into Criteo, like how did we get there? We basically got there by doing a lot of acquisitions. So it started in 2016 when Criteo acquired HookLogic. Back then, we were a pure retargeting company, and we would like to differentiate our businesses, right? Look at what else is out there. Now, HookLogic was a good starting point. They started when Amazon was really picking up as well, and HookLogic had big clients in the US, big retailers, and that was the first sponsored product solution. I was one of the first to start working on it in Europe, so I've been part of this journey since the beginning. Later, we acquired a company called Storytel, a French technology company working with Carrefour and a lot of big other French retailers. And they were able to combine the on-site display as well within retail media. Now, what we saw is that there was a need for self-service and analytics. That's Gradient. Masaya is the marketplace solution, what we just talked about. And then IP on Web brings basically the big technology on the SSP and the DSP side. So the programmatic builders. How does that all come together in one platform? Because it's, of course, 5 different acquisitions. And how did we bring this together into one single self-service platform? It's quite a bit of information on this slide, but let me try to break it down. So in the middle, you have the self-service platform. We call that the RMP, the Retail Media Platform. That holds both sponsored products, on-site display, and off-site display. And it has an element of insights. Insights for retailers and insights for brands. To fuel that platform, you need, of course, money. The demand sources on the right-hand side, it can either come from a retailer sales team, Criteo can do it, so Criteo sales team, or it can even come from API partners. API partners are, for instance, Sky and Backview and others that are able to drive big budgets and are working closely together with brands and agencies. So this is where the money comes from, and it's fueled into the self-service platform. And on the other side, you have the data. So it could be on-site, online browsing and sales data that comes from the technical integration that Criteo has with the retailer, but it can also be other customer data pools, CRM data, in-store sales, etc. That is coming from, for instance, an API plugin like Salesforce. So that brings everything together. So the data, first-party data, very important. The demand sources, where a retailer or a partner of us can pick and choose. They can even do 2 or 3 things at the same time to bring as much budget as possible and to bring it into one platform with all the different needs, on-site and off-site monetization. This is kind of like a screenshot on how it looks, but the cool thing about retail media, and I believe that's why it's such a successful thing as well, is because it gives so many insights. So it's purely insights driven, and it gives all the performance metrics that brands and agencies are looking for, like return on ad spend, the spend, but you can also see which keyword is used, and which purchase was done in which amount of days. So that level of detail is not to be found in many other advertising solutions they have. And because it's so close to the purchase moment, it has a high influence on the return on ad spend and on the sales. So brands could really push their sales volumes up by investing in these sponsored products toolings. If you would bring it all together in a visual way, you would have a solution for every single page type. So from your homepage, where you have these nice looking branding ads, all the way to your product detail page, where you have product carousels with a recommendation algorithm, it all comes together in a way that is shopper centric. So it needs to be relevant for the user, needs to be aligned with what a product and the brands would like to push. And it needs to be a high margin and profitable business for the retailers as well, of course. So that's what we're trying to do here. And also to connect that to our other businesses. And that's what we're working on. And I have a short video to show you how it all comes together. Here we go.
Sander, we can't hear the voice actually.
That's it. Thanks. Are there any questions?
Sander, thank you very much. I just interrupted while you're showing the video. We couldn't hear the voice actually, the video voice.
Okay.
I think it is while you were connecting, you need to check the audio with the computer or something like that, the setup.
Okay.
I think it's all about that. I'm now checking if there is any question. Not yet. And thank you for your brilliant and mind-opening presentation. And thank you for joining us. It is very nice to meet you. And lots of things to do together, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. And feel free to, if anyone has a specific question, feel free to reach out to me or talk to Muad, who's in the later session, and my colleague. Happy to answer that.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. You too.